What are we getting ourselves into here?
We go this way.
No investigation has been sent up the mountain for decades.
How do we stay alive? We could either find the black box or not.
Around the corner there, and we just can't do it.
In Bolivia tonight, a team of mountain climbers is trying to reach that Eastern Airlines jet which crashed into the side of a mountain outside La Paz. There were 29 people on board, including 8 Americans, and there is not much hope that there are any survivors.
The plane was going from Asunción, Paraguay to La Paz en route to Miami.
It was hazy, foggy. The area around La Paz is very mountainous.
The wreckage of Eastern Flight 980 lies buried in a giant glacial snowdrift.
Probably the most difficult investigation I can think of.
What would it take to go get it?
The bodies are still there. The plane is still there. Let me bring my dad home.
So let's try to go after this and finally put this investigation to rest. I was new to the NTSB.
Purpose of the safety board hearing.
We didn't think this airplane would ever be found.
This is a difficult approach into La Paz.
It's an extremely difficult approach. You have to come in from high altitude, quickly descend down to the airport. This is not your typical airport approach at all.
This aircraft slammed right into the side of a mountain at 19,000 feet.
19,000 feet isn't easy. The area was covered in like 30, 40 feet of snow.
A full-scale investigation by inspectors from the National Transportation Safety Board is now underway.
They didn't find the recorders at that time, and essentially the investigation came to a halt.
Hey,
David Crow from ABC.
Hey, Dan Futrell.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, come on in.
What triggered this?
So last summer we were sitting around and followed the internet rabbit hole to a Wikipedia page that listed the 19 unrecovered black boxes in the history of aviation. Also included this one. It was the highest elevation commercial plane crash. And so that one kind of stuck out to us, and the reason listed for the black box being unrecovered was high altitude and inaccessible terrain. Like, come on, like, people have been to the moon, people have been top of Everest. What does inaccessible mean?
You guys are both mountaineers?
No, not even close. We haven't done anything near what real mountaineers would call mountaineering.
Was it the sense of the adventure? Was it the mystery that appealed to you?
I think a little bit of both. Maybe we could succeed where all these other expeditions had not managed to. Leg one. We were psyched.
Say what up.
This is great. We were gonna hike to this old abandoned mine at Mesa Cala.
Going up. To me, that looks impassable.
Physically, really, really demanding. It was about an hour hike to the beginning of the debris field, and just that hike, you're hiking right towards the summit of Illimani.
16,000 feet now.
We get there to Mesa Cala,
We immediately found pieces of the plane.
and this is the first time we saw a little piece of a life jacket.
It's a real plane crash. It actually happened.
And that's the first time where it was kind of real.
So it became clear then that we were in the right place at least, but the debris field was much, much larger than we had anticipated. It did seem like the goal of finding the flight recorders might be completely impossible.
I found this thing, which is the right color, but cracked open like an egg.
I think Isaac found the first one, a piece of orange metal.
I flipped it over and it was very clearly international orange.
But it's really bent up. I expected a black box to be intact, and I also found some magnetic tape. So we had these things and we think they might be important and we kept them, but this is not confirmation. Eureka happened several days after that.
The end of our last day, Dan and I decided to look a little while longer. And so I just flipped over a piece that I hadn't flipped over before, and it had a little wrap on this bundle of wires. It said CKPTVORCDR. Wow, we've been finding pieces of the black box the whole time. We're standing there on this beautiful mountainside holding this thing that we come a long way to find, that people had claimed to have been stolen or hidden, and there it was. There it was.
A San Antonio man is one of 8 Americans who died when that Eastern Airlines jetliner crashed this week on a Bolivian mountainside. Mark Bird was the second officer on the ill-fated flight.
My dad, Mark Lewis Bird, He was the flight engineer on Eastern Airlines Flight 980.
He lived and breathed airplanes. That's how the wife of 31-year-old Mark Bird describes her husband.
My mom never really talked about it. I just always knew that I was missing my dad. I never really knew why. They came back down and called me and told me what they had found. Time just froze.
We called her from Bolivia.
That's right.
Twice.
That's right. And she just wanted to touch a piece of the plane that her dad last flew on.
Here's this guy on the other end of the line in Bolivia that just climbed the mountain, found my dad's plane, and said he's, pretty sure it's the black box.
And that felt good. And so now we wanted to see if we could go a little step further and get an answer.
Do you think you'll ever get an answer as to what happened to your dad?
I hope.
Wait a minute. This is like a cardboard box. Basically, the black box is living in your apartment.
Yeah. What you see here are six different pieces. This one here is the piece that Isaac, last piece that he found.
This is the eureka. This is when you think you know you've got it.
This is cockpit VO recorder.
And this part right here, that Delta 1025 on the inside, that's the one that's unique to this box and can be tied to this flight.
So we don't think any of this is going to be worth much to anybody. It's obviously pretty smashed. The good stuff is...
It's this right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
Basically, it looks like something you'd put in a tape recorder.
What really happened here? Was it a mechanical failure? Was it a crew issue? Is it a terrorist event? The only way to know is to get to that tape.
It does kind of give you chills that little spool of tape might actually have some answers as to what happened to this flight.
Yeah. What was the last moment like? Did they realize they're hitting a mountain? Was there some completely unthinkable thing? We have no idea.
Why is it here and not with the NTSB?
The Bolivians must invite the United States NTSB to look at this magnetic tape.
I called the Bolivian embassy in DC, left a lot of voicemails, and I sent several emails explaining the situation. We really are hoping that they'll give us the sign-off that it's okay for the U.S. government to look at this thing.
Now it's seemingly our task to convince the country of Bolivia to cooperate with the country of the United States. Why don't we have a little bit of cooperation here?
I would like to see somebody take responsibility and explain why veterans and American citizens had to die on the side of a mountain and never be recovered.
I think anybody at the NTSB now wants to know what happened to this airplane. It was a big mystery then, it still is. And one thing we don't like as aviation safety people is not having closure on something.
What do you think 3 decades later, 2 guys from Boston decide to climb the mountain and try and find the black box?
To climb to that altitude, to travel down to Bolivia to look for this is really amazing.
What have they done for the mystery and for you, the loss of your father?
They've made a connection for me. They've proven to me that there are, good people out there. There are people that still care. Nothing has really been solved. I think the mystery is even deeper now.